I remember the exact moment it happened, like a knife twisting in my chest. It was a crisp autumn morning in our quiet suburb outside Chicago, the kind where the leaves crunch underfoot and the air smells of damp earth. I was sitting in my old armchair by the window, sipping my chamomile tea, watching the neighbor's dog chase squirrels. My phone buzzed once, a text from my son, Michael. "Mom, we're handling things now." Then, nothing. The screen went dark, no signal. I tried my credit card to order groceries online. Declined. The internet? Cut off, the modem light blinking red like a warning. In one fell swoop, my own flesh and blood had isolated me, turned me into a ghost in my own home. But they didn't know I had evidence. Years of receipts, emails, recordings, tucked away in my safe. That day, I turned it on. I turned on the truth. And oh, how it burned them. Stick with me, dear listener, because this isn't just my story. It's a warning about the wolves we raise in our own dens and how one old woman clawed her way back to freedom. The silence that followed was deafening. I paced the creaky wooden floors of my little bungalow, the ones I'd polished every week for 40 years. The house smelled of lavender from the sachets I'd sewn myself, a faint reminder of simpler times. I went to the kitchen, my slippers shuffling softly, and started folding the laundry I'd just pulled from the dryer. Warm towels. Michael's old shirts I'd mended, even though he hadn't visited in months. Outside, snowflakes began to dust the garden I'd tended so lovingly, the roses I'd pruned with arthritic hands, now bare and thorny. I chopped vegetables for soup, the knife's rhythmic thump echoing in the empty room, carrots and onions releasing their sharp, earthy scents. These were my days, you see. Quiet rituals that kept me going after my husband passed. I'd cook extra, hoping Michael or his wife Sarah might drop by, but the fridge filled up with uneaten meals, turning cold like their hearts. Oh, how I sacrificed for them. Let me take you back to those warmer memories that now sting like salt in a wound. When Michael was a boy, I'd wake at dawn in our tiny apartment, ironing his school uniforms while the coffee percolated, its bitter aroma filling the air. I worked 2 jobs, waitressing at the diner, where my feet ached from standing, and sewing dresses at home late into the night, the machine's hum lulling him to sleep. I skipped meals so he could have new shoes, their leather squeaking fresh on the pavement. "Mom, you're the best," he'd say, hugging me tight, his small hands sticky from candy I'd bought with my tips. When he married Sarah, I gave them the down payment for their house, $20,000 from my savings, every penny scraped from years of denying myself little luxuries like a new coat or a vacation. I babysat their kids, Emily and Jack, changing diapers that smelled of talcum and innocence, reading bedtime stories until my voice grew hoarse. I hosted holidays, the table groaning under turkey and pies I'd baked from scratch, the oven's heat warming the room as laughter filled it. But slowly, it changed. They grew distant. Sarah would roll her eyes when I'd offer advice, her manicured nails tapping impatiently on her phone. "We're fine, Eleanor," she'd say, but her tone dripped with disdain. The betrayal crept in like shadows at dusk. At first, it was small. Forgotten birthdays, calls unanswered. Then it escalated. Michael started pressuring me about the house. "Mom, you can't manage alone anymore. Let us help. Sell it, move in with us." But I knew what that meant. They'd take control, siphon my savings. Sarah whispered in his ear. I could see it in her sharp glances. One evening, over dinner at their place, the air thick with the scent of roasted garlic, they argued with me. "You're being selfish, Eleanor," Sarah snapped, her fork clinking harshly against the plate. "We need the money for the kids' college. You've had your life." Michael nodded, avoiding my eyes. "It's for the family, Mom." Family? The word twisted in my gut. They'd already drained my accounts for loans that were never repaid. 5,000 here for a car repair, 10 there for a vacation. Receipts piled up in my drawer, yellowing like forgotten promises. And then, the gaslighting. When I'd question it, Michael would sigh. "You're imagining things, Mom." "You're getting old. Old." As if my years made me disposable. The loneliness gnawed at me, nights spent staring at the ceiling, the clock ticking like a heartbeat slowing down. But that day, when they cut me off, phone silent, cards frozen, internet dark, it hit like a storm. I sat at my kitchen table, the wood scarred from decades of family meals, and felt the weight of it all. My hands trembled as I clutched my teacup, the porcelain cool against my skin. Enough, I thought. Enough. The realization washed over me like a cold wave. I'd given my life to them. But they saw me as a burden, a bank to rob. No more. My mind cleared, sharp as the winter air outside. I wasn't helpless. I'd always been the strong one, the one who fixed things quietly. That's when I acted. Silent, deliberate. I walked to my study, the floorboards creaking underfoot, and unlocked the safe hidden behind my husband's old painting, the one of a serene ocean, waves crashing with quiet power. Inside were the folders, bank statements showing the loans, emails where Sarah mocked me as the old bat, even recordings from my hidden app on the phone they'd now silenced. Conversations where Michael admitted, "We'll get the house once she's out." Evidence. I turned it on, photocopying everything at the library down the street. The machines were a symphony of justice. Then I called my lawyer, old Mr. Thompson, from a payphone. Yes, those still exist in our town. "Change the will," I said calmly. "Leave it to charity, the animal shelter I love." I canceled the joint accounts, the ones they'd linked without asking. Changed the locks on my doors, the new keys gleaming like symbols of control reclaimed. I even packed a small bag, ready to leave if needed. But this house was mine. Bricks and mortar I'd paid for with sweat and tears. They came that evening, pounding on the door like thunder. Michael, red-faced, Sarah behind him with arms crossed. "Mom, open up! What the hell?" he yelled through the wood. I opened it slowly, standing tall in my doorway, the cold wind whipping snowflakes around us. "You cut me off," I said simply, my voice steady as stone. "Phone, cards, internet, in one day." Sarah sneered. "We were protecting you, Eleanor. You're not well." Gaslighting again, but it bounced off me now. Michael shifted, panicking. "Mom, please! We need access back. The bills!" Begging, blame shifting. "No," I replied, short and cold. "You've taken enough. The evidence is with my lawyer. Leave, or I'll call the police." Their faces crumpled, shock, anger, then fear. They stormed off, tires screeching on the icy road. Now, peace settles over me like a soft blanket. I sit in my garden as spring whispers in, flowers blooming where thorns once ruled. A rose bush unfurling pink petals, symbol of renewal. The house is quiet, but it's my quiet. No more empty chairs at the table waiting for ungrateful guests. I've rediscovered myself. Walks by the lake, waves lapping gently, washing away the pain. Coffee with friends who truly care. Their laughter warming me more than any family dinner. The necklace I wear, the one my husband gave me, gold chain with a heart pendant, reminds me of love that was real, not manipulative. I've let go, boundaries firm as locked doors. Listen closely, dear one. Dignity isn't given, it's claimed. We pour our hearts into our children, but if they poison the well, walk away. Karma circles back, quiet as sunrise. Let go of the broken bowls of relationships. Plant new seeds. In the end, peace is the greatest revenge. I've found mine. May you find yours before it's too late.